Let's fight! Let's fight, Christopher! Let's fight! Let's fight! Let's fight, guys! Wherever you're joining us from around the world, let's fight tonight! Let's fight tonight, guys! Let's fight! Let's fight, guys! Let's fight! Good to have each and every one of you guys here with us this evening. We are so privileged that all of you are here with us. Lots of folks have already joined us, whether it's Deborah Leach, Lynn Fidance, Dawn Raymond, and all the other beautiful, lovely folks. We are so happy that you guys are here, and we'd rather have it no other way. Kwalamingo, Wendy Denny, Linda Booker. I see, is it Joreen, Angela Jordan? Angela, how are you doing? So good to see you, Angela. Say hello to the hobby for us. Say hello to the hobby for us. Good to have you guys here. And ensure as you come on, guys, you share the live. Smash that emoji button for us, guys. We're fired up at our end, and we are ready to go. And we hope that you guys are too. We hope that you guys are too. We're going to ensure now that we are shared to all the right places. And we not just ask you to do stuff we're not doing for ourselves, folks. Good to have each and every one of you here. Good to have each and every one of you here. Good to have each and every one of you here. Good to have you guys. Let me know if the audio is good. We hope it's not peaking this evening. We want it to be just right for you guys. You want it to be just right. So we're hoping that we're not peaking this evening. We're hoping, fingers crossed. Let us know if the audio is good. We think we did a good job in adjusting it. Let us know. Welcome in the ring again to each and every one of you. Fired up at this end, as you know, folks. And we are ready to go. Ready. I gotta tell myself, the voice now start peaking. I find it peaking already these days. I don't know, since the last board, I tell you a lot of things that's fine happening. A lot of things I find happening that never used to happen. We big, folks. We big. But we got sense. We have sense. We big, good people. We big, but we got sense. Welcome in the ring wherever you are joining us from. Whichever Facebook page you are joining us from, whichever Twitter feed you're joining us from, LinkedIn page, YouTube, you're joining us from. Follow those pages, guys. Please and thank you. Follow those pages. Pace and power. That's how we're doing it this evening. Boots on the ground. Y'all know how it is, folks. You know how it is. As you come on, Paul D'Angelo and all the other folks, Paul Bourne, Yonit Benjamin, and Glycis Mingleboard, as each of you join us, we hope that you share the live. Smash that emoji button for us. Letitia Jonas Crandon, Wade D. Joyce, we see you. Andrea English, we see you. Rella Worrell, we see you. Yvonne Daly and Vincent, we see you. And Dan Fordyce, of course. Paul Hopkins, not to be left out. Andrew Griffith, good to have you, Andrew. And thanks for your hard work. Good to have you. I see Sheena Hazel. Good to have Sheens and Shauna. Fowler, good to have Fortune, rather, Shauna Fortune. Good to have you, Shauna. Kristen Crandon, good to have you. Alexis Douglas, Wanda Fraser, I see a Tiffany, gone by so swift. Elizabeth Williams, good to have you folks. Coming up, the one and only Christopher Jones is going to be joining us. Coming up again, the one and only Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip Christopher Jones is going to be joining us. Cleon Christopher is here. Good to have you folks. I don't know what is causing a little flicker. Hope it's not affecting you guys too much. You know, it's not one thing with the live. It's something else. We got the quality of the video a little better. We got the quality of the audio a little better. Now we're getting a slight flicker there. We're going to remedy that as soon as possible. Hope it doesn't cause too much trouble. Guys, we're fired up and we're ready to go. Robert King, Marcus Blue, we hope that you guys are as well as we come on, guys. Share the live. Smash that emoji button. Partner with us, guys. You all know we got to keep it going. We hope to keep it going because of your love and because of your support for credible, valid information as we pursue the truth, folks, and we defend the facts. Good to have each and every one of you here. Make the shares look good. Folks, make the shares look good. Make the emojis look nice, folks. Don't let me out there looking tin. Joylin Cook. I see. Is it Josella? Josella, good to have you here. Yvonne Daly, good to have you. Tessa Haywood, we see you as well. And Barbara Ralph, good to have all you wonderful folks. Right, those of you who owe us payers, Oren John Cook, good to have you. Desmond Harris, how are you folks doing, guys? We're so happy to be here with you. It is such a privilege of ours to be here with you wonderful folks. Heaven fit, we there, guys. Really glad to have each and every one of you with us. We don't like that flicker the least bit, and there's a problem we are certainly going to try to solve. We don't like that little flicker, not the least bit, and there's a problem we're going to try to solve, folks. But good to have you folks. We're fired up at our end, and we are ready to go. Fired up at our end, good folks, and we are ready to go. Give us a second, let the guys see if we can solve that little flicker we're seeing there. Fired up, guys, and we are ready to go. Share the live in the meantime. Smash that emoji button. Y'all see we out here. We out here, good people. We out here. We outside. And we are ready to go. And we trust that you wonderful, beautiful folks, that you guys are as well. Fired up. And we trust that you guys are ready to go. Share the live, folks, as we try to make a slight adjustment here. Perhaps to get a little flicker out. Good to have each and every one of you. Not too sure what might be causing it, but we don't like it. We don't like it one bit, that little flicker. I ain't like it. That's what I'm telling you. Right? I ain't like it. Right? Me not like cancer. Me not like cancer at all. We don't like it so. But good to have you folks here. Good to have each and every one of you here, folks. Good to have you guys here. We wanted no other way. We're so thankful. We are so thankful and so grateful that you wonderful, lovely folks are here with us. Share the live. Smash the emoji button, folks, and let me go down the road. Let me go down the road. Thousands of you have now joined us, folks like Roxanne Warren, Cicely Wicks, and Herman Forrest. I see Donald Liverpool, I see Robert King, Aldo Grant, Clifton Smith, Latoya Cumberbatch, all the other beautiful, wonderful, uncontroversial, good-natured, peace-loving folks. Good to have each and every one of you. Color up, folks. Christopher Jones. We are fired up and we are ready to go. Folks, the whole world is gone mad. You all see what happening in Sri Lanka? You all see what is happening in Sri Lanka? Well, as we begin to fight catch tonight, guys, there is where we pick up our coverage. Yep. There is where we pick up our coverage this evening, folks. Welcome in the room to each and every one of you, giving you a little pick. Welcome. We're really happy that each and every one of you are here with us, guys. We have it no other way. Welcome, guys. Welcome. You guys make the program what it is. We told you that. We keep telling you all that, and we keep trying to tweak to get things just right. We've just managed to solve and upgrade the video quality just a little bit, so you guys who are viewing us on your smartphones and your television sets, your smart televisions, that you see us a little clearer, and we hope that you can hear us a little better now. I'm seeing a little flicker here. I don't know what's causing that, because the guys are going to attend to it. Soon enough, Carol Hudson, I'm happy that I can see you and you can see me. We're going to forgive that. Hollis Charles and Hazel Stephen, Letitia Jonas Crandon, we told you guys every cent you guys partner with us with. Go into the programs to try to make them better. We tweak them, try to make them better, and we think we're coming to come. Fired up, Wanda Fraser, and ready to go. We're coming to come, folks. Coming to come. Slow but sure, guys. We are coming to come, and we are off. Share the live. I can see from our end, all the folks we're pulling in from Twitter and YouTube, and some folks from LinkedIn. We can see all that from the back end. And we're quite over 2,500 folks this evening. And we encourage you guys to share the live. Smash that emoji button. Partner with us so we can do more of this on your behalf. And it's off we go. We told you all from around the world, folks. Welcome in the ring. And we're picking up the coverage this evening from Sri Lanka. Folks, a lot of things happening in Sri Lanka. A lot of things happening in Sri Lanka. Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Rajapaksa. He's having the time of his life there, folks. He's having the time of his life there. And you know, a lot of folks are in wonderment to see a war hero turned fugitive now. That is a report this evening that the president left the country early this morning, if not in the wee hours of yesterday morning. Yes, folks. Gotabaya Rajapaksa left the country there from war hero to fugitive. You know, this is a cautionary tale for some folks that think they own this country that we're living in, you know. It is a cautionary tale. I hope they're listening. I hope they're watching. And I hope they're taking notes. One day, folks, you're the spider. The next day, you're the fly. That is how fragile this life we live is. One day, folks, you're the spider. And the next day, you're the fly. Such is the nature of politics. The shifting sands of time. Such is it. One day, a war hero. Next day, fleeing with his family to the Maldives. Yep. Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Fleeing with his family. Such is the nature. You know, his brother was denied. His brother tried to leave as well, the prime minister. And everybody said, no. Somebody got to stay and deal with this mess. We didn't create it ourselves. We did not create it ourselves. And so the brother had to stay behind. The immigration authority said, no. One is enough. Right? We can let him by there go. Right? You little thing-ish. But we're watching you. We're watching you. You know, and as our thoughts and prayers go to this nation tonight, led by Gotabaya Rajapaksa. He hasn't resigned, and there's a constitutional crisis and confusion there because his brother's now saying that he's the acting president, appointed himself. Again, folks, it's a cautionary tale. It is a cautionary tale. Now we there. You know what we saw this morning? Yard boy, Clement Rohi, got on social media on Facebook, and he said, you know, as a country, we should support the protesters. In Sri Lanka, we should support the protesters, and he outlined several things that the protesters are calling for. Yes, your boy Clement Rohi. I had forgotten Clement Rohi up until this morning. When somebody showed me this post he made, and one of the things he's saying, right, is that the folks are protesting against corruption. Like he's trying to tell you all something at the other hearing. Dennis London Welshman, Guilford Gordon, Roxanne Odessa Jacobs, like he's trying to tell you all something. I hope you are listening. He said the folks there are protesting against corruption, and they ought to be supported. You must check it out. Check out the Facebook page. Check out the Facebook page, and let's see how that goes. Candy Lane, Indrajit, good night to you. Good night to Anaz as well, and Robert London. Good night to Sheena Hazel and Diane Gravesandi. Good night to each and every folks. Let what is happening in Sri Lanka, guys, be a cautionary tale. Oh, thoughts and prayers go to the entire nation. And the head of state as well, and all the other members of government, right? Because they really need prayers. No angels, they need God himself. God himself. We tell you all, as long as you live in this country, guys, you know, Ghana is not a real place. Tommy Gibbs, Joan Murray, Rhonda Gordon, we know Ghana is not a real place, right? Nasser, Rhonda, and Shion Ali Cook, Desrick Smart, Felix Nasser, Gwenna Jones, it's not a real place. The more we live, the more we see. We keep saying one thing on these programs all the time. We know everybody in the country don't watch this program. We understand it. We would like that. We would like that, and we're striving for that. Right? But if you ever see them, tell us for us. Tell them for us. You all know some of the things we champion here. Right? You all know some of the things. It's not a real place. Let them today. Madness on the roads continue. The madness on the roads continue. Even in far-flung Let them. And what is even more mad here? What is even more insane here? What is even more crazy here? This ambulance in Let them that met for this mishap. This ambulance, if you can believe it, Carol, Braffett, Ibon Lamy, Orman Don Cook, Heaven, Petal, if you can believe that, Chinsing Henry, I see Sylvia Allen and Alston Max, if you can believe it, this ambulance was on a test drive. Guys, can you believe that? Volmay Wilson, Gail Ali Cook, can you believe that this ambulance was on a test drive? Where this country coming to? I see some folks are waiting on us. You've already said what's the problem. It's a jumpy board. 3,000 pounds of misery. So as they put on the board, there's problems in this tongue, you know. Things multiply and escalate real far. Real far. But we happy to report you don't have too many injuries here. Scratches and scrapes, but nothing life-threatening. The ambulance, ladies and gentlemen, those of you watching us around the world, the ambulance was on a test drive. How many of you? What stars got a line? The first day you turn the engine in your new car, or in the car that you get second-hand, however you get it. The first day you jam it, you crash it. That's a bad sign. That's a very, very bad sign. I don't know, they got to do a redo here. They got to, you know, hold a tanks for this ambulance or something like that. You know, consecrate it or something like that. First day, test drive, you know, test drive. Ambulance turnover. Definitely something wrong there. The ambulance. You need an ambulance. All the contradictions of this country, good people. The sheer contradictions. The contradictions of it. Yep. I see Heaven Faith asking, what if a sick person was in it? Right? Thanks be to God, that wasn't the case. Thanks be to God, that was not the case. Just driving the ambulance upside down. But you know, that's how we stay. But we keep saying, folks, slow down and arrive alive. Please and thank you. Slow down. Let us all slow down and arrive alive. Coming up, Parliamentary Opposition MP and Chief Whip Christopher Jones is going to be joining us to help us to meander through some of the madness of this installed regime. Moving on and fight, guys, folks. Right there we there. Right there we there by them boys. Trench crappos, jaggerbacks, tapeworm, yep, tadpoles and cricketers. Y'all know them. Same set. Folks, these folks are a gift that keep on giving. They're all Guyanese brothers and sisters. Our Guyanese brothers and sisters, who we so happen to agree with politically and otherwise. But they're a gift. They just keep on giving. And here's what we follow. Folks, share the damn live. Smash the emoji button. Partner with us. 3 simple things we ask you guys. Night after night. Program after program. Pace and power. So a couple things. When you see some good things happening, this is how we encourage you. We say pace and power. Pace and power. Well, look, story here. The folks at Albion said enough is enough. Don't come wrong with funny. Do not speak to us anyhow. They have done tools at Albion. Folks, the sugar industry. The sugar industry, it gone till it went. The folks think some of the managers there, disrespectful, trying to treat us anyhow. Folks, make the shares look nice, man. Make the shares look nice, the good people. Please and thank you. Make the shares look good for us. In addition to that, folks, make the emojis look good for us. The people said, don't talk to me anyhow. And they are telling us that some of the folks out of Albion, the management that is, they want to talk to them anyhow. They want to come along them funny. But them boys say they're having it. They are not having it. That's what they're telling us. And so they down tools and they said, we can make you an example. This is a long time. They said it tastes the sweetness of dignity on the David Arthur Granger. They said this is a long time. He never talked to me anyhow, and we taking it from y'all. We say kudos. We say respect and manners to them. Kudos, respect, and manners. That's what we're saying. Kudos, respect, and manners. Right? Again, when you see certain things happening, we say base and power. Right? Protest is a constitutional right that each and every Guyanese enjoy. It is a constitutional right, guys. Each and every Guyanese enjoy it. And so this is what is happening, guys, at Albion. The folks saying, we don't like how you are treating us. Well, it's the sugar workers. It's our indigenous brothers and sisters. It's right across this country. People are taking foolishness, you know. People are taking foolishness again. They're not doing it. They don't have the patience. Y'all think I got 23 years of selling under these boys there. I don't know Paul Hawk Kippings and got it. Neil Corton got it. Barbara Barton got it. Marlon Lamran got it. Good night, Marlon. Right? I know Robin ain't got it. Robin Pang, he ain't got it neither. Pang. He ain't got it. The folks saying, don't come wrong with funny. That's what we're saying. And if you think that's problems, that's just Albion, you know. That's just Albion, folks. The sugar industry acting up. Because them boys, definite, your boys say sing. Definite. Y'all see what sugar selling at in them supermarkets, if you can find it. If you have the privilege of finding sugar in the supermarket, you all see the price? My Lord. Right. I give up Lambert Street. I give up by the cathedral. But like they're selling me back in this life. I tried to turn a new leaf. But like they're trying to sell me back. And it's the wrong point in my life and the wrong age and stage. Your body might be touch nothing much now. Might get a half pound of sugar. Right? So, what I do now? Since the Ransing, them boys see Deponate, you know we Depon, LeVon Cameron, Donald Liverpool, you know what he's on. MB Christopher Jones, who just walked in the studio, you know what he's on. If you tell me what's he sing on, Ingrid Carter, right? It's you message me the piece of time and say sing this way on. This is what he's on. Lot of nonsense. Now, I remember we covered this a couple of nights ago when he said that everything was okay at IFLOC. He said everything was okay there. The combine went back. Sugar production was going to increase. He said there was no shortage in the market. None. They're good. He said we good. We ain't got no shortage. IFLOC in or IFLOC out. We ain't got no shortage. Now today, that's what we say definite. He's telling us that with this strike that's happening at IFLOC, so there's a strike at Albion, and there's a strike at IFLOC too. He said a strike happening at IFLOC could affect the local markets is bare lies. Because the local markets were already being affected. That's the point we're making here. The local markets, Mona Moses, Mariel Ford, if you go to Bora, you go to Starbucks, you go to a little corner shop or a supermarket, you know the local market was already being affected by sugar shortage. But the shame to know the billions we've been pouring into sugar, and what has been the return? Nothing. It's like the big salary we pay Sis Line. Same one who deposited MS. And we medal service, the same one. Big salary we pay him every month. What is we benefit? What is we return from it? Nothing. Nothing. We're wasting taxpayers' money. But he's saying that the grinding to a halt of the estate at IFLOC is going to affect the local market now. But last week it wasn't affecting it. When the combine wasn't returned and no sugar didn't grind in anyhow, it wasn't affecting it. But no, when the buy strike, he said it's going to affect the local market. How can we trust these guys with another day, much more, 5 more years? No way, Jose Barbarov. No way, Jose Adele Semple and Babani, Sandra Goodluck Semple. No way, Jose. I think it's only that the man talking? The man talking a whole set of other stuff. Now, quite recently, right on this program, we will have you guys to know the fellow said, he's not a politician. On this very program, says Terence Singh, talking to sugar workers. He said, I'm not a politician. Right? He said, I come here to talk about sugar and how together we can move these things forward together. I'm not a politician, but today, they're all change. Because we heard some comments. Who's sharing the damn life? Who will smash the emoji button? We heard some comments attributed, guys, to say Terence Singh, we couldn't believe we ears. We could not believe he is. If he wasn't political last week, if he wasn't a politician last week, will he convert this week? He has converted this week good people.
They give you, they expect gratefulness from you. And this is what President Pierre Fanali got to face from y'all. You know they used to call Moses Nagamutu Nimakaram. I never said that. I said they used to call Moses Nagamutu Nimakaram. Because when the PPP made him, that's when he stopped the freaking PPP. Same thing with Ramshitan, everything for your education. The PPP gave it to him. And we do. Stop the PPP when the PPP needed it.
Yeah, but today, I become strike.
Strike when you got fresh cane there.
That is not fresh cane, boss. I pay mud.
Alright.
Pay mud in there. After filter, I pay that I pay mud.
Now, You got folks who are protesting. But Moses Nagamutu, name calling, right? 2 years later, Kemraj Ramjatan, name calling. You all heard the comment? You all heard the comment, folks? Take another listen of how PPP believes that this is not just ordinary public servants, you know, working for the sugar industry. This is indentureship all over again. You are going to be grateful. Stephen Ali, he gave you all some money last week, and this in my life in the public sector. Right? Granger gives severance pay. Huh? Oh, we're going to insult them because they voted a certain way. And so this is how you show your gratitude. But this is the PPP for you. This is the PPP playbook. The man who wasn't a politician last week. Listen to him again.
They give you, they expect gratefulness from you. And this is what President Pierre Fanali got to face from y'all. You know, they used to call Moses Nagamutu Nimakaram. I never said that. I said they used to call Moses Nagamutu Nimakaram. Because when the PPP made him, that's when he stopped the freaking PPP. Same thing with Ramshit and everything for your education. The PPP gave it to him. And we do. To stop the PPP when the PPP needed it.
Yeah, but today, I become one strike.
Strike when you got fresh cane there.
That is not fresh cane, boss. I pay mud.
Alright.
Pay mud in there. After filter, I pay that I paid mud.
So he's in effect saying that they are Nimakurangs because they're ungrateful for what the PPP and the FNLE doing for them. Right? Maybe call the wrong name. Because according to the Chinese businessman, the FN is nobody. Maybe it's the wrong name we call. That's why them guys still striking. So they're striking. And because they get a little money from government. Remember, this is PPP money, yeah? It's Freedom House money. They must be grateful. And in fact, the CEO calling the workers, y'all Nimakarangs. Because y'all are grateful for what taxpayers' money doing for y'all. So it's not the taxpayers they're working for in this country. It's here for Nali. It's Jack Dio. And that is how they got our brothers and sisters in the sugar industry. With new macarangs. You see that? Can you imagine a boss talking to you like that? Huh? You think you can get good productivity out of them with that kind of attitude? But that is just so insightful as into the mind of how folks like Sister Ryan Singh operates. Bullyism. That's what they call it. Bullyism. We don't call the sugar workers Nimakarangs. What kind of country we living in? And this guy getting paid about 30,000 US a month. Plus benefits. US. Us. Among to go and call workers Nimakarang. Anybody could do that. And he is largely responsible for the continued failure of the sugar industry. That is why GAWU, the PPP union, Sugar Workers Union, called him to be dismissed. Nimakarangs. You see, and if I had done that, Christopher Jones had done that, you would see Primanichan take to Facebook. If Fanali would take to Facebook and a whole set of foolishness. But they condoned it to keep them in line on that side. Unacceptable. Unacceptable behavior. Unacceptable. Moving on there, folks. Well, I think it's only the sugar workers they're treating. You think it's only the sugar workers they're treating? Lannis Bias and Destiny Phillips, Simone Williams. You think it's only the sugar workers? Babani, Rhonda Gordon and Chandel Moses, Beryl Felix. You think it's only the sugar workers feeling the brunt of the PPP mismanagement and ignorance and corruption? No. Our brothers and sisters at the Tushar Conference, oh Father, well, they show us the menu, and we like it. We like it. Them guys said they can't believe we pumping oil. They said they can't believe we pumping oil. They said they need so much of white rice in their life. And this little, is a shot of cabbage stew. Right? A shot of cabbage stew. And they couldn't even decide what was the menu on the other side. Right? It was like a fried rice cross with a cook-up, cross with some farine. The folks said, no. They like the menu here. You bring the people from so far, giving them next to nothing to eat. They can't even visit their relatives in the city. They want them talking to reporters or nothing. It's where we live in. Is it Guyana, 21st century? Or somebody just transport us in North Korea as King Jong-il territory we in. We'll go around calling people Nimakarangs and tell them to be grateful. And as Kevin Ramsey always says, you gotta suha them, you gotta worship them, you gotta bow down. For this? Huh? For this? You want to see how them boys eating. Well, you don't want to see how them boys eating though. You don't. You don't. Let me show you how a couple of things going before Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip Christopher Jones come and have to guide us in some of the discussion we're going to have tonight. Because we often show you how things start. Sometimes we like to back up, give a little update about how they're going. Here's a couple of things, folks. Do you remember the torture situation here? Well, it's the Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West. Remember the torture vigilance? Well, nobody being charged for torture. A couple of officers are going to be charged. But I tell you this, good folks, it is not for torture. According to a statement released by the Ghana Police Force, Police Constable Najir, right, or Nazir, is to be charged with the offense of failing to perform his duties with diligence. In this incident where this young man, quote unquote, burnt himself, quote unquote, Police Constable Nazir is to be charged. Police Corporal Thomas is also to be charged with the offense of neglect of duty. Police Corporal Thomas is to be charged with the offense of neglect of duty. Police Corporal Bisesar is to be charged with the offense of omitting to make the necessary entry, I guess, into the station diary, station journal, whatever it is. Omitting to make the necessary entry. Police Corporal Bisesar. And then Karen Williams will now be charged with the offense of introducing prohibited articles into prison. Introducing prohibited articles into prison. This is probably the lighter. I'm hazarding a guess. It's alleged. I'm hazarding a guess. This must be the lighter. But nobody being catched, nobody being charged rather for torture. Folks, more in the matter than on the pistol. Because again, they want to tell us a man give the prisoner a lighter as they shared a bench in the station. The report from the police station said he was alone in the cell when they heard screams, and when they came, they saw the man's shirt on fire. That's what they want us to believe. They summoned the paramedics, and he was taken care of. That is what they want us to believe. But I'm telling you guys here, DC, Corinne Ben, Claire, I see Waylon Golding, Heaven Patel, and all you other folks, Pamela McKenzie, Money Matter than on the pistol. Take what I tell you. Money Matter than the pistol. And how this going? You all remember those folks that were trailing and following the leader of the opposition, staking out the leader of the opposition? You all remember this? We covered this. Well, we have an update for this as well. We have an update for this as well. The guys are telling us they now have legal advice. They now have legal advice into this incident in relation to ranks following the leader of the opposition, Mr. Aubrey Norton. Right? Superintendent Alastair Roberts is to be charged. Mind you, notice the other in the other ranks, they just call the last name, but now we have a full name. I wonder why. I wonder why. Alastair Roberts, Superintendent Alastair Roberts is to be charged with the offense of acting in a manner likely to cause discredit on the reputation of the force. But I think we're a little too far gone here now. Right? Acting in a manner likely to bring discredit to the reputation of the force. That is a charge to be leveled against him. In relation to him giving his junior ranks instructions to escort the leader of the opposition and not being truthful about it. Right? I'm not being truthful about it. More the matter on that, folks, than on the pistol. Alistair Roberts, why the other three ranks as vigilance? Only their surnames were carried. Folks are telling us on the ground that Alistair Roberts is not one of them boys' lackeys. So they're trying to get Alistair out of the way. That's the word on the ground. And you all know he relates to the ground. And we feel the reverberations through the police force as we meander through all this madness under the leadership of Clifton Hickins. Word on the ground is that Alistair Roberts is not their boy. Is not one of their lackeys. And so they can try to out him now. Alistair Roberts. Notice, quite interesting. All the other guys, only the surnames were mentioned. But not Alistair Roberts. No. Things are working, sir. But we're watching more the matter than on the pistol. More the matter. Another update. See the police force take over the whole second half. The whole second half. You all remember the 3 policemen who have been charged in connection with the murder of Quinlan Bacchus? One of them was this young man, Sergeant Damian McLennan. Well, the Monday after he was charged, he was promoted, rather the Sunday before that. The Sunday before, well, he has now been stripped of that promotion. That promotion has now been withdrawn from Sergeant Damian McLennan. Something with McLennans. Something with the McLennans. And I'm eager to head into my discussion with the Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip Christopher Jones. I think we have another update. Yet another update. We spoke about this one just last evening. Right? Just last session. Session, folks. You remember Dr. McLennan? Huh? The man who fashioned himself as Dr. McLennan? Well, folks, this story now getting indictable. The medical council says he might be charged. He could be charged because it is against the law to impersonate a doctor. It is against the law. You remember on his resume, he had a reference to the Chief Magistrate, Anne McLennan. Well, Anne McLennan was very hasty to say, he has never asked me to be a referee for him, to be a reference for him, and he is not my relative. Because apparently he told a couple of news agencies that Anne McLennan was the auntie. You know, this boy got such a fertile imagination. You know, I'm sure his book will sell better than Ruel Johnson's books. I'm almost certain. Right? Where Ruel Johnson has only sold about 10 books in his entire career as a writer. This boy would sell millions of books. He'd put me on the map where the New York Times and bestsellers are concerned. He told a couple of news agencies as he was apologizing that Anne McLennan was the auntie. Well, Anne McLennan said, no. We got people like that in our family. She said, no. We don't have people like this in our family at all. Right? She said, we'll come again. Mikhail, we'll come again. But in addition to that, folks, as Christopher comes, in addition to that, here's some other things. Remember the fellow said he went to a lot of institutions, right, of higher learning and so forth. Well, a lot of them speaking out tonight. They said, don't think you can drag me name down in the mud with you. We have it so much like Chief Magistrate and McLennan. They're around too. Right? And we've been made to understand that Queen's College says, no, he was never one of our students. He was never one. Maybe he passed on the outside, but he was never one of our students. Texilla, American University, saying this evening, no, he is not a student of ours. And the University of Ghana also is saying that as far as they know, Mikhail McLennan has not, and probably will not be a student of the University of Ghana. But he has not been in the past. He's not currently a student. They say they're still looking into this in terms of their internal files and so on. But as far as they know, Mikhail McLennan, right, has not been a student of this. Look at this guy has captured the imagination of this country, right? And look how many books you will write. Your whole life writing books, never captured the imagination of this country like this. In one day, one resume, right? Look how many people giving reviews. Chief Magistrate, Texel University, University, right? This boy would sell some real books if he only apply himself correctly. Very fertile imagination, very, very much so forth. And I think we're coming down now to where we're going to have the Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip, Christopher Jones. But before we do that, and I want Chris to capture this, I don't know, but of recent, we see some strange photographs with members of the government. And I want to know the bill and pass yet. The bill and pass yet. Society has evolved, but the bill and pass yet. That's what I want to know. We saw this photograph quite recently. We saw one before. And we asked you guys to caption it. We want to caption it. Right? Caption this for us. This is the Minister of Housing, Colin Crowell, with the Minister within the Ministry of Communication, Telecommunication, I think it is. Works under the Prime Minister installed. Kwame McCoy. And we don't know, but you know, something like Colin Crowell got something in the eyes. A lot of people looking at the Colin Crowell eyes recently. Very, like entranced. Right? Enchanted, something. I don't know if it's boo-boo is what, but something in Colin Crowell eyes, because we saw him locked in a anaconda stare the other day with another, I think it was one of the other ones, man. Right? Society is evolving and we are accepting a lot of things. But the bill and pass here, let's say what the bill and pass, the bill and pass. That being said, folks, that being said, I think we've gotten to the main event. Yep, we are quite there, and I'm very happy to welcome the opposition, Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip, Christopher Jones. Chris, you see what happened in this country, my brother? Right? You're watching me like that. I want to tell you, that's what I want to tell you. I'm upset this evening. Is that sitting well with me at all? At all. Chris, how are you doing? Welcome.
Not bad at all, Sharon. Good night to your viewers and listeners.
Very happy that you are here with us. Extremely happy you're here with us. Well, Chris, you're out here, and you see what is happening is purgatory, you know, on the rocks, and then the chase it with some infusion powder. Is the things, Chris, not a day goes by. Let's start with the National Two Shows Conference. Now, the folks are coming out to tell us that the government has almost hijacked the whole thing. Our indigenous brothers and sisters are playing no meaningful role in this program. They are being dictated to. They're not being spoken across from. And that's a tragedy. We saw this with the outgoing chairman of the National Two Shows Council, Mr. Nicholas Fredericks, who wrote a whole epistle paper saying how they have undermined the National Two Shows Council playing a meaningful role in this transition process, in this program that's happening currently. And in addition to him, we also saw your very own Mr. Mervyn Williams speak out on this matter quite recently as well, talking again how the PPP dominated and control about this PPP dominated and controlled National Two Shows Conference, and that a lot of two shows are very uncomfortable. What are you hearing this evening, Chris?
But you know, Sharon, essentially, this is, unfortunately, it is nothing new under the People's Progressive Party Civic. I'll take your viewers back to under the presidency of former President Donald Ramotar, when he was in one of the villages, and when the residents there confronted him, he used some language on him. He went to the extent that referred to the young man who is a teacher as he's a stupid person, and he attempted to slap him, and even asked the security guard at the time to escort him out of the meeting place in his village and so forth. This has always been the trademark of the People's Progressive Party Civic. The PPP believes that they have some sort of license when it comes to the indigenous people, indigenous communities, and the indigenous leaders. They always dominated. They use the ministers within the government to go about it to those community and put to those Amerindian residents that whatever the government says that they must do and must follow. I can tell your viewers now that right now in some of the hotel, Princess Ramada Hotel is one of them, in which some of the delegates are being housed. They are not allowed to exit the room for no reason whatsoever after a certain hour. There is even a person who is placed on each floor to ensure that none of the delegates exit the room for any reason. And unless they are given permission from the minister of the government to exit the room, they're not allowed to, and they're turned back and sent back in the room. That is the situation currently our indigenous brothers and sisters are being faced with at the various hotels across the city that they're being housed currently right now.
Wow. Well, it's interesting that they have the attention of the government in this way, because we made to understand, like, once you go back into those hinterland locations, you don't have the attention of the administration, because this is a headline we saw in Sabbath News quite recently, Chris. For 21 months, American People's Association have been unable to meet with Minister Sukai. 21 months, but they're coming out to say, we care. Wow.
Yeah. Well, Sharon, just for example, we have not been able to meet in the National Assembly for months now. Just to alert your listeners again, like last year when the National Assembly of Guyana, the highest decision-making forum in the country, didn't sit for 96 days. And currently we already surpassed 2 months, and we have not had a sitting of the National Assembly of Guyana. That's how people control. That is how the People's Progressive Party governs a country. They control the indigenous community. They control those perceived supporters in the sugar industry, as you rightfully mentioned earlier in the pieces that you illustrate and so forth. That's how the PPP operates. So ever so often, when you have a protest like what you saw on the east coast of Demerara, it is out of the norm or the expectation of the PPP, and they have to bring them back in line, so to speak.
Very interesting, Chris. Very interesting. So there's that happening on that front, Chris. And then we had recently the Saudis were here with us, and it was a giveaway. The
local Saudi or the foreign ones?
The foreign ones were here with us, and it was a massive giveaway. President said, if you want the presidency ticket, you want foreign affairs ticket, you want finance ministry ticket. It was a massive giveaway, and the commentators, social commentators, the political analysts have been saying, what's happening with the people with this foreign policy? They ain't getting it right at all. It seems as though everyone is not comparing notes with the professionals at all to how to conduct himself. As a matter of fact, I'm happy you asked whether it's the local or the foreign Saudis, because the Sabbath News, for instance, in the editorial said the manner of dress of the head of state to the event, it was unnecessary. They said it was uncalled for, unacceptable, even.
It was part of the link show, apparently.
Oh, I thought it was part of the charm offensive. You see how much he could give away and how quickly, right? So there was that, and so they offered them this country desk at the Ministry of Finance, which again. It started when the public gave away the whole of finance and raised a lot of eyebrows. This one editorial in Sabbath News said the header was Saudi investment delegation. They said, Irfan injudiciously assented to some of what had been asked for. And it went on to say that any locating of a desk at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Finance rather, for Saudi Arabia is wholly unacceptable and must not be permitted. How come Irfan them don't know these things, Chris? How come? My Lord.
Did you see Barrett Jagdeo? Was Jagdeo there?
Oh, that's the problem. He wasn't being spoon-fed.
So the man was allowed to run free reign.
Oh, you get too excited. He's got to tear me down.
Yeah. You remember Jagdeo still has to keep it, stay in the shade to avoid any publicity because of course, Sue Gates is still there. Sue Gates is still very much there.
Wow. We're getting some visual issues, a little flicker there. Apologies. But there's that. So the Saudis were here, and then we got some other issues that we're dealing with as well. It's on every front, Chris. On every front, we got challenges. Another issue that was brought up again in the newspapers quite recently. You mentioned it. Sue Gates is still with us. Shocking disclosures. The only second installment of Sue Gates, Gang for Sale and so on came out. Sabbath News responded to that, says in a kind of amorphous sense, everyone knows about corruption in this country, but nothing systemized on this scale that Isabel Young and team showed us in that documentary. The editorial went on to say, if officials accept bribes from them, this is the Chinese, they will undoubtedly accept bribes from all sources. It is just that in the case of the Chinese, it might be on a more of an industrial scale. That's corruption, corruption in this country at an industrial scale. We went on to say, at least it's more organized. What happened in the country? It seemed that we were going on a growth trajectory. We had integrity, we had national pride. All the down the drain. Too short here.
Yeah. Back to 23. You see, I mean, Sherrod, ad nauseum. Perhaps your listeners are inundated with the amount of response that yourself and several other commentators on these programs been speaking about. This is typical People's Progressive Party civic. Guyana was ranked one of the most corrupt countries in the Western Hemisphere under the People's Progressive Party civic. Guyana was named a narcotics trade center in which narcotics transshipment point for narcotics leaving the shore. Guyana was blacklisted under the PPP, and the list goes on. So within the very short 2 years since the PPP has returned to office, we have seen all of that. Case in point, the allegation of torture of young Peters in the police lockups. October of this year will mark 13 years since the torture of young Thomas at Leonora Police Station 13 years ago, in which it was alleged that members of the police force took his penis and put it in a drawer and slammed the drawer shut, and then doused him with rubbing alcohol and set him alight. And that was front page of the Kaieteur News. All of these things, police shootings, or in Boston, young Bacchus, and you have the list. All of this transpired under the People's Progressive Party civic during their 23 years reign in office. And you compare that 23 years to the APNU AFC 5 year, and you have nothing of such. And then immediately after, remind your listeners again that within 2 months of the PPP being installed in office, you had those two huge cocaine busts in those two countries, in which the country,
Belgium and the Netherlands.
Exactly. And that continues. And that is why we keep asking, or we keep putting out there, is that essentially persons who are involved in the narcotics trade finds comfort when a People's Progressive Party civic is in office. Just a few days ago, another plane landed in Mali with tons of cocaine. It's a normal trend. Once the PPP is in office, this is what happens in a country. And that's why you find it very difficult when you have so many organizations not speaking out. I saw Bharat Jagdeo speaking at the the dinner last night.
GSMA.
To think that they have just saw what we saw. The documentary with the allegation of the vice president of this country accepting bribe. It remains an allegation until it's investigated, and if he's guilty, then whatever charges or whatever to be accrued to him, which will never happen in this country, and I repeat it third time, which will never happen in this country. But they felt comfortable enough to invite him as the guest speaker. So interesting. Exactly. You would believe that such an organization that should be held in esteem, recognizing the damning nature of these allegations. It's not a case that is somebody speaking. It is a case in which you saw video and you heard the audio and you know it is the vice president. But yet, still, as I said, it remains an allegation. But to think that that organization will find comfort, will have absolutely no issue with inviting the said vice president to come and speak to them, it tells you a lot, right? It tells you a lot. Because there are those persons, as we keep mentioning, who are the beneficiaries of individuals like Bharat Jagdeo. He himself, in his presentation, mentioned to the persons who were gathered there that many things that the government is doing as it relates to climate change, that some of them in the very room are the beneficiaries. And that is a fact. And under Bharat Jagdeo, for many of those companies and individuals who were at the dinner last night are beneficiaries of Bharat Jagdeo. Of course, they have to show some tacit support, irrespective of the most damning allegation to hit the highest official of this country of bribery and corruption. They find comfort to invite him as the number one guest speaker for them. It tells you a lot about the organization and several other organizations in this country, of which when you see allegation of this nature coming forward, you don't hear them asking for an investigation. You know, to put this thing to rest, let us have an investigation. They say
No,
absolutely.
no, them boys will be thinking up of how they could change course in terms of change strategy.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's what's happening in this country. You know, you show the clip with the CEO of Gaisuku.
Citizen saying, yep.
Correct. So essentially, the sugar workers are feeling the blunt of the high cost of living, like every other Guyanese across this country is feeling.
Mhm.
The advantage that the sugar workers have, as I mentioned before on this program, is that for the sugar workers, they recognize, you know the Guyanese slang, when you find a paku, it's busted.
Yep. Yep.
The sugar
Yep.
workers find that this PPP government is a paku government. And by virtue of the fact that they know the power that they wield, that they are the sugar belt and they cast thousands of votes for the People's Progressive Party Civic. And the instant the sugar workers jump up and cry that, listen, things bad, we gotta get increased, the PPP will come running. I bet you within a few days, if not Bar Jagir himself, you might see Irfan Ali going up to reach with the workers. And they will have a settlement before the end of this week. Before the end of the week, the strike that is currently there with the sugar workers will be resolved by the end of this week. Because the People's Progressive Party Civic sees the sugar workers as nothing more than a cash cow for votes. And of course, the sugar workers recognize that the powers that they wield, and of course, they recognize in the government there's a paku. And every time they stump the toe, they cry, and the PPP will come running with money. Good. Congratulations to the sugar workers. Unfortunately, those in the public sector don't have that same luxury.
Correct.
They will continue.
They don't pay so well.
Exactly.
They don't pay so well at all. Chris, we talked earlier on about some of what is happening in the Ghana Police Force. And we touched on it going through our fight carry this evening, the torture issue at vigilance. But so much else is happening. Folks following Mr. Aubrey Norton, clearly we're learning now that was unlawful. They didn't even go to court. That was unlawful. We see what's happening with Quinton Backers, the gentleman who was charged but promoted, and lots of other issues having to do with the police force. I mean, what's happening? David Granger said he wanted an incorruptible commissioner of police. I don't know what the PP aiming for here, but we clearly ain't getting the last 5 years back. We seem that the police force was on a certain upward, trajectory where public confidence is concerned, and lots of other things, professionalism and so on. That upward mobility has been cut short.
Yeah, it has indeed been eroded. It has indeed been eroded. The Ghana Police Force has a lot of work to do to repair its image. But of course, it starts with the very manner in which persons are appointed in various positions. I know, of course, there is that court matter that is currently ongoing. We meet again with the Acting Chief Justice, Roxanne George Welcher, on the 20th of July to continue the deliberation. I can say to your viewers that today I was able to cash my check for $50,000 because the Attorney General's office had to pay fees to me. So I cashed that check today. If you were
money got to make, Chris. Money got to make.
Yeah.
Money got to make. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we have seen this kind of decadence and decay in the moral fabric of this country in 2 short years. On every front, we didn't even have a chance to talk about the high cost of living, Chris, and what's happening out there in the marketplace. People catching the tail in this country.
Yeah. You also see an increase, and you will also see a further increase in the interpersonal violence, particularly in the homes. Because in my neighborhood that I live, I reside in Tugville. And quite so often you would hear a little ruckus in a part where you go query or whatnot. The guys will sit with me and share. There are a lot of issues in a lot of households across this country, across the political divide. And this is as it relates to the high cost of living. You have the male who is accustomed to providing, let's say, $10,000 or $15,000 a week. That's what the wife would use or the child mother to use to purchase food and so forth. And within 4 days, she's crying out, the money's done. He feels now that she's doing something extra, doing she here, doing she there, or whatever the case be. And the fact of the matter is that the cost of living is so high that what you could have purchased with $15,000 or $20,000 that could have given you perhaps a fortnight ration could only supply you with 1 week. I am living testimony of it. I go to the marketplace with my wife. You see this portion of Bora for $400.
Right.
Exactly. So at our home now, we too have reduced what we purchase. We extra prioritize. I mean, we've been doing this forever, but now it is even harder. And I know for single parent and persons who receive it a small salary, whether it's a week or fortnight, and those security guards, I don't know how they're surviving. I don't know how they're surviving. The cost of living is ridiculous. Perhaps there's a better term to use. It is ridiculous. Guyanese can't find food to eat. And that is why at the public meeting we had at the Stabroek Market, the People's Parliament, which again will be on this Friday coming, I made mention the point in terms of the incident that occurred at Monrepo Market. Unfortunately, the incident that happened. But at the end of the day, when you read closely into what transpired there, you saw persons running away from the market with plantain, egg, potato, onion, etc. And as I mentioned to the folks there at the Stabroek Market, for certain, they are not going to take the plantain to the bank because they can't deposit it. They're not taking the plantain to go and purchase a car. They are taking those things that they stole home to cook, to eat. The next day in some village on the East Coast, some little child was awoken with mommy or daddy frying plantain and eggs, which he said is a luxury. I saw a guy with a bale of toilet tissue, and people be like, oh, you would be surprised that parts of this country, Guyanese now have revert back to what we used to use, which is the newspapers. So that is reality. So for them, that is a luxury. So
you know what? Christopher, a woman told this nation quite recently how the government pushing women. You know, you got to get a weekend man. You got to get a fortnightly man. A weekly, fortnightly, a monthly. To just make it in this country. Look where we come to.
And she's correct. And she's correct. And that is why I made mention of the fact that you will see an increase in domestic violence. Because indeed, a mother's first instinct is to take care of her offspring by any means necessary. And if there is a father or a child father or children father and he can't provide, she will find a way. Unfortunately, because of the high cost of living in this country, it pushes people to the brink of doing things otherwise to survive.
Strange things. Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip Christopher Jones, I want to thank you for coming by this evening. If I didn't get a chance to ask you anything you want to put out there, be my guest and go right ahead and do that. And maybe, tell us where we go from here, Because a lot of folks want to know where we go from here.
Yeah, for certain. Listen, so Sherrod, as I mentioned before about the absence of the sitting of the National Assembly, because the People's Progressive Party Civic love to cry and shout about democracy. And for the PPP, they believe that democracy starts at the elections and democracy ends at that election. Everything else that's supposed to be part as a spring off of democracy, the democratic norms, the sitting of the National Assembly, elected officials having an opportunity to put forward and move legislations and so forth. That very institution has been eroded. Last year, the National Assembly of Guyana did not sit for 96 days, with some 480 something questions were piled up there on the speaker's desk. To date, as we speak, the National Assembly of Guyana has not met in 8 weeks. There's a pile of motions and questions that has been submitted by the opposition members that pile up on the speaker's desk, and we are awaiting. And of course,
so much for a robust agenda. So much for a robust parliamentary agenda.
But when they come to the next sitting, they are coming for a supplementary budget. Billions of the taxpayers' dollars they will collect, and then the parliament will go into recess. And they're gone about the business with the people's money. No accountability, no transparency.
Wild West.
Friday coming, we continue the People's Parliament at the Stabroek Market Square. And this time around, you will have the leader of the Alliance for Change, Mr. Kemraj Ramjatan, MPs Jorman Figuera, Amanza Walton Desir, and Vince Roy Jordan, who's the vice chairman of the PNCR. They will be addressing people there. We see a lot of groundswell for the People's Parliament has already started. We see persons in Region 6 has been asking, when is the People's Parliament going to come? It is going to spread. Because we recognize the trajectory in which this country is going under the People's Progressive Party Civic. And as we said to people that listen, you saw the APNU AFC in government, how it operated, how you had a well-oiled, functioning Guyana police force, you had government in office, you had a disperse of resources across this country. The APNU AFC has to return to office. And we are on that path right now. We are on the ground. And we're going to continue to spread in the various communities across.
Excellent, excellent. Chris, thanks for spending this time with us. Parliamentary Opposition Chief Christopher Jones. Thanks for being here and offering guidance on these myriad issues. Thank you so much, Chief. Thank you.
Most welcome, Chair.
All right, guys, that's it. That being said, folks, that is our time. That is our program. That being said, good people, that's the time, that's the program. Paul DeAngelo, that's the time, that's the program. And you all know, to keep us going, we rely on your love and your support. Joyce Sampson, Adele Semple, Patricia Kisoon, Heaven Patel Wilson. I see Joyce Simpson is here as well. Polly Ann Court, Sandra James is here. Ann Beverly, Wanda Fraser. Good night to you, beautiful folks. Joyce Simpson, again, Jacqueline Johnson, Chinsing Henry, Pauline, Oren Barker, Lindsay running by so fast. Rowena Williams, Lizzie Simon, Bob Ali, Carlin Halley. I see Sharon Alfonso Evans is here as well. Good to have you folks. Alison Cortez. Alison, how are you doing there? I see you a little bit, but good to have you here. Good to have you. Lester Williams, Hazelin K. Winston Crow is with us as well. Quincy, good to see you. Good to have you here, Quincy. Yvonne Daly and Rosella Barton. Partner with us, folks. Pace and power. Partner. You all see the platforms we have. Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, MMG, MoneyGram, Western Union. You want to know, you want some guidance? 627-6963. It's 21st century WhatsApp winner, man. Shucks. Each donation keeps our program going. Credible information, folks. Credible viewers only. Credible comments only. Valid viewers only, guys. As we continue to pursue the truth, folks, and defend the facts. Good to have you folks here with us. That is the time. That is the program. Thanks for joining us, each and every one of you. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe. See you guys right back here tomorrow. FYI. Blow the back. Then we're back in the ring. Stay safe. That's the time. That is the program.